Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? Today we're going to go over how to ink Godzilla. Just his head right now, and I'm going to go over kind of the tools that I'm going to be using to ink him. So we're just going to go over the head. And one big thing about this is I really kind of want to go over and talk about the kind of the more inking aspect, because last time we did more of the pencils, so let's go over the inking real quick. So let me tell you what I'm going to go over, do this, and let me tell you the things I'm going to be using. Number one, I'm going to be using this Copic Multiliner SP 0.5. I kind of used it a little bit in the other video you saw, but I'm going to really go over more inking. And then this is a Micron 02. I think the thickness of it is 0.30 mm, I guess millimeter. And then this is a brush tip. This is really useful. Really, really, really useful. Black. I believe this is by Pigma. I thought there's a Micron. I don't know. I think this is a Micron. It looks like a Micron. Anyways, this is what we're going to be using. And first thing I'm going to do is going to pick this one right here. No. Actually, I'm going to pick this one, the Multiliner Copic. And so I put a light already layer down, so I know what I'm going to pencil. I didn't quite put in every single detail, but I put in a lot. And so I kind of want to talk my way through a lot of this, okay? So I'm going to go in and just figure out the general lines first. Going into the eye. I'm not thinking so much about value yet and where the shadow is hitting quite yet. I am a little bit. Starting to dry out. I'm probably going to need a new one of these soon. But I'm thinking about the brow causing a slight kind of shadow there, as you can see. We'll go with the scales later. Other side. Make sure you get that brow on the other side of the ridge there. I want to pull this line up. The cool thing about it is there's not so much, there's not a whole lot of line weight variation, which can be good and bad. I personally like it because you don't need as much control, to actually do that. To pull certain lines, you don't need as much control because you can already pushing down at a consistent value there. Well, I'll go over the stuff later. Pulling down. Changing where my pencils were, but like I said, I didn't fully define my pencils entirely yet. Top of the mouth. To the cheek, the side of the cheek there. I've talked about this in the other versions. Based on what version of Godzilla you're drawing, there's going to be like some variation, of course. Some versions will have kind of this part kind of curled up over here. Some won't. Going on the side over here, going to the lower part of the mouth. Trying to find here where the side of the mouth ends. Going down over here. The front of the neck. Going down the back. Kind of from rivets there. I'm going to put the some of the spikes in here in a moment. Going over here, going to where the teeth are going to be. On the back side, I'm going to find the back. Well, I'm going to find the back side of the teeth first. I made them kind of too even. I shouldn't have done that. Should have made them a variety of sizes, but teeth below here. Trying to change up the size a little bit. Back over here. And kind of putting in some dashes here. I'm going to put in one of the spikes a little bit. And I went over how to draw spikes in another video. Check that video out if you have time. And then I'm going to continue down here. Maybe 2 spikes. Let me do something really quick. I'm going to get an eraser. I'm just using the back of this pencil. I'm going to erase stuff so it gives me some more clarity at looking at the image. And I already know I forgot something. I forgot the top row of teeth, which is funny. I can't believe I forgot that. Get this stuff out of the way. Let me get that top row of teeth now. Side 2 are the biggest. Alright. Now I'm going to try to think about the darks and where the light would be coming from. The light will be coming from the top to the bottom, which is like 95% of the cases. Often there's kind of a double lighting, which you can use, but I'm going to use this kind of snout that he has right here. What do they call it? Muzzle, snout area. I think the snout is this area that muzzles the whole thing. And I'm going to find my broad shapes of that. Because it's not fully in darkness or light, I'm going to be throwing these little dashes here, which kind of indicates a change of plane, kind of a change over, you know, but it's still relatively in light. So also with that, I'm going to actually grab my brush and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to kind of go into the mouth and figure out where the shadow will be for that. I'm assuming it'll be at least here. And the brush is a little bit different. I have to be careful about how I control it, because it is a brush tip, so you can push down and just kind of squish it too much and, you know, get like a much larger shape than you want. Right here as well would be kind of, I wanna get all the larger shadows out of the way. I'm gonna go down here, kind of think of the shadow that his muzzle would make on this entire object. And this is a point of kind of no return. You have to be really, really careful. You know what I mean? How you ink something. And I want this entirely, I want it to read entirely black. I'm leaving a little strip over there because I'm probably going to throw some more black behind him. And I don't want him to entirely disappear. I want this edges to read, you know, I want his side of his body to read. Right here as well, more in the eyes, not too much though, because it's already got a lot in the eyes. Oops, little dot right there. Might go over here and put those back row teeth in here. Kind of match those as well. And let's, from that, I want to make the top part of the teeth. Match right there. All right. And then I want to see how the image reads overall. You know what I mean? Does this read as a quick image, like a quick read? Like that's what this is kind of more for. That's what those big graphic shapes are for. Just kind of get a quick read on what it is. I'm gonna throw these in the back here, kind of in shadow. I think they look pretty cool when you do that. Alright, so let's continuing to shade this, to fill this in. You're essentially filling in your own shapes. Kind of reminds me of like coloring your own coloring book, kind of. It's a little different, obviously. This isn't as, I would say this form of inking isn't as a pure form as when you use a quill, you know what I mean? Or use like a brush that you can dip in water and really kind of make very opaque, you know, make it very see-through. That's, I think, more the pure style. This, I can't really get an opaqueness from this, you know? I can't really get it like that. But, you know, it's still amazing to practice with, and I recommend this brush tip especially. Really gives you the feel of that. So yeah, I would look into that. If you guys have any questions, by the way, anything about inking, please let me know. This is something that I've kind of just dipped into. I used to always do it for myself a little bit, but now I'm like really enjoying it. You know, you kind of go through those artistic phases, you know, where you're trying different tools and you're just like, hey, this is fun. So now I'm like really addicted to this kind of black and white, almost comic booky, right, look. And if you want to get your own comic book started, I would really learn to do this. Although I know when you do comic books, you're either doing one or the other. You're penciling, and then there's another guy inking, and there's another guy doing something else. You know what I mean? I know how the biz works and stuff like that because I remember it. So let me go over now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till hopefully that dries. Be careful. I got to be careful about that. And actually what I'm going to do first is I feel like maybe some of that would be in a little bit of shadow, so I'm going to throw shadow line over here. Like maybe it's receiving a little bit of shadow over here. That's why those are in shadow. Let me wait till those dry. Looking at it now, I think this spike over here is a little bit small, so I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. Just gonna make that a little bit bigger. And let's get into the details. So let's get into the details. For that, I'm going to grab this one, the Micron 02, and that has a 0.30 millimeters. And I am going to kind of get into the little bumps and crannies, you know, because he's a lizard, right? He's going to have a lot of little bumps and crannies all over him. I would recommend not putting every single one. You could do that, and I've seen guys do that amazingly well. That could work. But I would just throw in some of the main bumps that he has. You know what I mean? He has, I mean, like I said, it depends on what version of him you're drawing. But I would say also no floating islands. Every shape, or at least for the most part, attach it to a larger kind of shape. For some reason, when it's like just like a shape floating on its own, sometimes it doesn't look right. Sometimes it does. But I would connect it to something. And this is kind of the stage where, honestly, like for me and a lot of other people, you can kind of go crazy because you can just, and crazy in a good way, you know? You can just do as much as you want. You know what I mean? But just control yourself, because you could also go crazy in a bad way. You know, you could also be like, oh, what? Like, I'm doing this, and pretty soon it's too broken down. It's too complicated. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to be careful. Over here with the teeth. Connect them to the sides over here. Sorry, I'm being quiet right now. I didn't realize that. And kind of trying to balance shapes out as well. You know, you know he's going to have this brow, right? So that could birth a lot of cool shapes. And this could be very fun. Like I said, it could be an exercise in, you know, like the complexity of certain things, like learning that complexity. I was really obsessed with that for a while, like folds and stuff like that in clothing, or you know, monster skin and things like that. If you look at movies like kaiju movies, like a recent kaiju movie would be Pacific Rim. You know what I mean? That one, you know, when the making of it, he talked about like the folds and things like that. He was super into that. He makes it look heavy. You know, like it makes these monsters look huge when they have these ripples, and it makes them look real. And that's kind of what you could essentially get into, you know, for sure. Looking in there more. And this part is a little bit, it can be a little bit, not taxing. Honestly, I find this part very fun, you know, very rewarding too, because you kind of get the overall picture already. You know what I mean? So it's not, you know, it just seems like icing on the cake kind of thing. Again, though, you know, like start putting together sketchbooks maybe. I mean, I know you do. I mean, if you're an artist, I know you have a sketchbook. That's pretty much like a given. Um, but what I've started doing lately is I started putting a sketchbook of just these style, like inkings, like ink style drawings, you know, as opposed to my other one, because I was really obsessed with that other pen, the kind of a sketch pen. I was really obsessed with that sketch pen. You know, very thin ballpoint pen, and those are great too, but they don't pop out as much on the page. I noticed for you know, just like viewers that just see my stuff. So I've kind of started using this as a way to like just kind of try something different and new and something I'm not totally used to. And it turns out I really like it. You know what I mean? You'll find out with a lot of things too. You'll try different stuff and you'll be like, wow, that was. I'm so glad I tried that. You know, always try new mediums, right? You really never know what you're gonna like. You have no idea. You know, it's weird how that works. Well, it's not that weird. You know, it's pretty obvious sometimes. Um, Drawing a line here. If you want, you can put his pupil. He kind of has a pupil in some. I kind of like it without it, but we can try. No, am I gonna try it? Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna make him have one. He has his giant one in the old one. Why not? Let's go down here to his lower jaw. I think I might be overworking the top portion of that head. Put little details in the teeth there. That's where I have to be very careful. And you also kind of have to be careful on how much detail you put everywhere. You know, try to balance it out. Went over here to the folds. He has a lot of folds right here. For the folds, I'm gonna kind of go back to this because they're kind of big folds in this area. You know, it's not. The details are not too little over here. All right, there. We're gonna continue kind of go in here. I'm gonna throw some detail here. Like I said, you could detail the whole thing, but I'm picking key areas to detail so that I don't have to do the entire thing on video. That'd be too much. Trying to put the same kind of, what do you call that, design language I have up here, down here. Trying to connect it as well. No floating islands. I don't want floating islands. Down here as well. It's mostly at the end of crinkle points. Over here as well. Like I said, crinkle points. Here, I'm gonna throw one over here. I don't want to make them all too identical. And if you really want, you can, that'd be kind of the end of that. If you really want, you can throw maybe an abstract shape in front of him to really make him pop out. I'm a big fan of that, of making things kind of pop out at you. You can throw maybe something like that. Get messy with it. You know, you could throw maybe a circle. It's not very symmetrical of me, sorry. Just putting that in there. Try to be quick with it because this is a demo. That is misshapen. I am sorry about that. Still a little bit misshapen, but I'm going to leave it like that. Thanks a lot, guys. I do appreciate you guys watching this. I hope you learned a little bit about just kind of the inking process. If there's any questions you have, please let me know. Let me know and I'll address them in the comments or in the next video. So thanks a lot, guys. Subscribe to this channel and share this video. Thank you so much. See you later, guys.